Hello, this is Perception and Cultures. My name is Raul Crank. This is Colorado Christian University, Relational Psychology, Roberto Perno, May 10th, 2021. What is web-based social cognition? Web-based social cognition is increased research online to explore the manner in which various social psychological phenomena are enacted in the cyber world. For instance, the way that we perceive someone just by his or her spelling inside of a text message versus when we see them in physical form. Someone may misspell or have a bunch of different uh, incorrectly spelled words inside of a text message. So when the first time we see them or greet them and meet them, where our perception of them may be defaulted because we say, okay, we may think that he or she may not have or we'll say have limited education versus just seeing, just conversating or conversing online. So, explain how cultures relates to our perceptions of others and ourselves. Culture relates to our perception of others based on how we are raised. You can have someone from another country sitting on one end of a bench of where you are sitting, and he or she begins to talk to you. You are not used to someone speaking to you because of how you were raised in your culture. So you think that it is unusual for a complete stranger to spark conversation. Um, a good example, and that is, living in a large city. You take the transit, and you may stand or you may sit beside someone you never know them. They may even look like you, but until you say something to them and they respond, you then know if that person is from your culture or maybe from a different culture. And they may not speak back, but that don't necessarily mean they're being rude and things like that. That just means that in their culture, they don't just openly conversate with someone that they don't know. Um, Even though the person speaking may be harmless, but I guess not every uh, smile or every uh, wave hello to someone, I guess is not always perceived as a good thing. So, with that being said, we perceive others um, differently because of our cultures. Discuss whether or not these perceptions vary across cultures. These perceptions of others based on how we are all raised varies across cultures. You can have someone from northern part of Europe that is not able to relate to the culture of someone from South America. If someone was to sit on that bench between you and that other individual and they have a different skin color, the European person may stand and move because he or she was raised to believe that their behavior is to do so. Um, this is one way they or three like one of three different ways to relate to different cultures. One is to confront, complain, and conform. Where in this case, an example is used with the Europeans using basically the confront form of relation to the culture, but not necessarily saying that they don't want to sit beside the person with the different skin texture or color. They may feel like it's honorable to give that person a seat, and they stand. Or they may feel like, okay, well, they're totally different from who I am and what I look like, so I'm not to affiliate myself or be in any type of circle or circumference with that person, whatnot. But are they right or are they wrong? Or is it just what their culture believes? And most that relate to cultures in a comfort way, or not comfort way, let's say confrontal way, they believe that their way is right. So to compare and contrast some key differences between American culture and a culture that I selected, which I select Hispanic culture, Mexican culture. American culture is raised to be independent, to confront cultures in order to relate. Americans believe that their behavior is the right behavior. An American may be raised to greet elderly people by prefixes such as sir or ma'am, and may use this in any place that they travel, any country far or near. And they may say, excuse me, sir, or excuse me, ma'am, to get by if they're walking by, or if they feel like they've I guess you could say like infringed on the rights or anything like that. They can, the polite way, and what they believe the polite way is to say, "Excuse me, sir, ma'am," address them like that. So, uh, far as in the Mexican culture, it is raised to depend on each other to conform or adapt to the culture that they move to or reside in or whatnot. That's other than their own. A lot of times they depend on each other, and they'll live together. You have two or three families in a single family home, or two family home, and they'll work together to to save money pretty much, and all of them will use that their incomes to pay off that home, to pay all the utilities. They put all their money together, and then what they'll do is the eldest will be the first to go out of the house. First, they'll buy another home or whatnot. Then more family come and live, and they'll buy another home after they pay that off, and this is how they uh, pretty much depend on each other and conform to adapting the culture that they reside in. And what surprised me says, what are some things that surprised me about that culture? Um, I know they party a lot, and or they like to party. Let me just say that. Who don't like to party? So they party a lot, and they uh, they have this pinata. It's called Las Pinatas. In the Mexican culture, it's a party ornament filled with candy inside. It was originally had a religious meaning associated with Satan in the 13th century. That surprised me. I never knew that. I always thought it was just hideous, colorful thing that if you hit it, a bunch of jelly beans fall out. But that's because of my culture. We don't do that, and not to say that they're wrong, or not to say that I'm right, or that I'm wrong for feeling like that. But that really surprised me to find out that originally was a representation of Satan. So I know today, though, I guess they don't use or look at it that way. Um, I guess because, like I said before, all I knew is it was used for parties for, used at parties for children for fun. Didn't know that they had such a serious background. So that's something new to me. Uh, has this research changed my perception or previous impressions about this particular culture? My perception of this Hispanic culture has changed somewhat. Their culture seems to be very religious. However, some of their traditions and rules are what people in North American culture would perceive as criminal activities. For example, young girls are considered to have entered womanhood at the age of 15, different from the young girls in North America at the age of 18. And that's self-explanatory. Here in North America, we do not consider our young girls to be women until they've uh, reached the age of 18. So someone 15 years old is considered still a baby, a child, young child, an adolescent, and um, at that time they are not considered to be able to be married or in a relationship with the opposite sex um, legally. So those things are what pretty much surprised me and enlightened me at the same time, and gave me an overall perception of a different culture other than my own. And I wanted to thank you for sharing this slide with me. I hope that you liked it. And good night.